Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hello, welcome. So today we're continuing our music focus.
Yep.
We focus a lot on music on our podcast, so today is no exception to that.
Yes, and for the next 3 episodes after this, because we're doing another 4 episodes of albums in a row.
Yeah, so these are my favorite ones because I just like to see, like what your opinion is on music, and I like to see where we differ and like where we're alike and that kind of stuff. So I just think it's entertaining for me to see, if like I really like something and you're like, nah, I don't really like it too much, or vice versa. It's just, I think it's kind of funny to see where our opinions diverge. So today, we will be covering The Weeknd's album, Dawn FM.
Yep, and this was a 2022 album.
Yes, and like most albums, I completely missed listening to the whole album, so it was nice to go back and finally hear it. So this was The Weeknd's 5th studio album, and it had a lot of different features, but some were just like narrations,
Yes.
which I was surprised to see. I listened to the album and then I went back to see like, okay, who was narrating. And so people like Jim Carrey, Quincy Jones, and Josh Safdie had some spoken word appearances. And then you had a couple of features by Tyler, the Creator, and Lil Wayne.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a concept album, as you alluded to, with like the spoken word stuff and, the Dawn FM, it's meant to be like a radio station.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that like going into it, so
I didn't either.
Like at first, I was like, whoa, this is interesting.
Yeah. Of course, the first thing I have to note about this album, it's always synth pop. Like,
yes.
I feel like we end up covering that a lot, and I don't like this genre most of the time.
Yeah, I did not realize that that's what it was. Otherwise, I would not have suggested it because I know it's not your favorite. So as I was listening to it, I was like, uh-oh, like, I don't think you're going to like it too much.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I say the same thing every time with, like, this genre and a few other genres, but, like, it's a good example of its genre, but I don't like it, so...
Yeah, I kind of figured that was coming. And I fully, like, did not know what this album was about. I guess I should have done a little more research before I was like, yeah, let's do this album. But I'm glad I listened to it because, I always want to go back into the albums of the artists that I like just to see, like, what it's all about because I'm only hearing, like, the ones that were released as singles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's good. I like that. And then sometimes when you go to the whole album, it's a lot different, which I feel like was the case with this one. So fully had no idea that it was a synth pop type of album.
Yeah, well, did you like this album?
It was not my favorite.
Oh, really? Okay. Yes. I thought you would have really liked this, huh?
No, honestly... there were a few songs that I liked, but for the most part, I'm not a huge fan of concept albums, and which I do find funny because, I like when artists experiment, I like when they're being, very creative, and so I say that, but then, like, I'm not a fan of concept albums, so it's kind of like I can't have it both ways, but that's just... That's just how I am. I did not care for this album that much. It wasn't terrible, but there were only like a few songs that I was like, yeah, I like this song.
Okay. Yeah, like, I agree with you about the concept part, because I think this album would be much better if you just strip the concept out. Like, I don't think it's a good concept.
No.
And, like, I don't know. Okay, so do you want to get into this now or as we go through?
I mean, why not?
Okay, so, like, one, the concepts, it's about, like, listening to a radio, like, the radio's, like, what you listen to, before you die. But none of the songs fit that mold. Like, they're all about relationship issues.
Yeah.
Like, some of them get a bit darker and involve death, but, like, for the most part, this is, like, all relationship issues, and this like really weighty sort of afterlife concept doesn't
Yes.
fit. And like, I don't know, a lot of them I felt like didn't sound good or were just like overly goofy.
I thought it was like kind of creepy. Like it just didn't. To me, it was creepy. I didn't like
Okay.
it. It was just one of those like the soft voice kind of and the like, DJ-esque talking,
Yeah.
and even like the narration, like that were some of the, songs was just so like I didn't like it, and I agree it didn't fit. Like all the songs did not fit with like what they were trying to do. The
Yeah.
only thing I really appreciate about this album is that, he went out on a limb creatively and put together, a concept project. And I got to appreciate that because at the end of the day, musicians are artists and they're, experimenting in their craft. That is probably the only thing that I appreciated about this album. But
Yeah,
the concept for me just didn't land. Yeah. I was like, no.
Yeah, like I said, to open with this, it would have been better without the concept bit, like just flat out.
Yes. Agree.
Because I think the album itself is like, I could see someone who likes this genre really loving it. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like really good at what it wants to be. So.
I could see that. I will say it felt like a quick listen, though, which I like that because sometimes when you're listening to an album, I'm like, oh, it goes on and on and on. Even though it had, I think it was like 51 minutes or something like that. It felt like it was a quick listen.
Well, a lot of these tracks are on the shorter side, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mind. I just felt like, okay, it was like 51 minutes. I'll be sitting here for an hour. And it went by pretty quickly for me.
Yeah. So, want to get into the track by track?
Sure. Let's get into track by track. So the first one is the title, Dawn FM.
Yes.
And this is really just a short little radio kind of promo, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, it's the opener for the concept.
Yes, the opener for the concept. So when you're going in, you don't know this is a concept album, and this is the first thing you get, you're like, okay, let's see what this is all about. So, it starts off with like instrumentals at the beginning. It sounds to me like 80s-esque.
Oh yeah, this whole album's very 80s.
Whole album is very 80s, which I usually enjoy very 80s albums, but this little intro is like a DJ talking for 103.5 FM, Dawn FM is the radio station. So I thought it was a little odd, but it was only 1 minute and 36 seconds, so you're like, whatever. I wonder what the significance is, the 103.5.
I don't know. There's probably something. I don't care.
Yeah, it has to be something. So, but, so it's just like a little radio promo, like DJ talking, and thought it was a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like this one because I don't like the concept, so.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like right from the start, I was kind of, okay, what are we getting into?
Yeah. All right,
so the
next.
second one, Gasoline. This one is definitely 80s sounding.
Yeah.
It at first gave me like Thriller vibes, like musically, like right up front. It made me think of like Thriller. And then the song by Win in Rome called The Promise, that immediately like evoked that song to me. It gave me very 80s vibes, and it's a little bit dark though. You know how you said some of them get a little bit dark?
Yeah.
I mean, he talks about like wrap my body in these sheets and like douse it with gasoline, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, but I think the vocals, I liked his vocals on this song. How did you feel about it?
Oh, I really did not like the vocals. Like that.
Really?
The performance and effects were really strange. I thought they were a strange choice.
I could see that.
Yeah, to me, this is the weakest actual song on the album.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
Because I didn't like the vocal performance in the verses.
Yeah, I like the vocals way better than the actual music.
Oh, okay.
But I still did not care for the song. Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, well, next.
Next, How Do I Make You Love Me? So, what did you think of this one?
So I'm probably going to repeat myself a lot,
Me too.
like I said at the top, just because, again, I don't like this genre.
Yeah.
It's more 80s style synth pop, and I think this one's at least solid. It's well constructed, but like for a lot of these, that's my only thought, and
Yeah.
I don't have a lot like to add on that.
Well, I thought the song was okay. Like, again, it wasn't my favorite. Starting off, I was like, not really feeling it, but it did get catchier, like, as I listened to it. I wasn't a huge fan of the chorus, but I did get, like, used to the beat. Like, I was like, okay, I can, the beat's okay. And then when it gets to like right around a minute left of the song, it gets like quiet and then it's just instrumental.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was like way too long. Like there was also this like repetitive beat at the end and like kind of breathing sounds, and I didn't like that.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I do think the song was well constructed, but it was a little too long for my taste.
See, I didn't feel like any of these songs were too long.
Oh, I did.
And I liked the outro, so.
Okay. Yeah, we are opposites on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so next?
Next, Take My Breath. Okay, so this is one of the singles.
Okay.
And I like this song.
Alright. I mean, I think there's maybe one or two songs where I'm like, yeah, this is alright. I just don't like this genre, but
Yeah.
I will say, this is well constructed, more synth pop, and I think it works as a long song. Like, I think the instrumental, interludes both in the intro and the bridge, which take, a long time to get going anywhere, I think those work.
Yeah. So I've heard this song before, but I didn't realize it was on this album.
Okay.
But I did note at this point in the album, we're a few songs in, and I was noting that the music sounds super similar to the other songs, which I mean is part of the genre, it's synth pop. But
yeah,
just if you would play just the music on all of these songs, I wouldn't be able to tell you which song it was.
Oh yeah.
So, but I did like this song, and honestly, I liked how it was more I don't want to say a driving beat, but it was definitely more peppy, I guess you would say, than some of the other songs on the album. Well, I don't know if peppy's the right word, but
yeah, I was gonna say, what'd you think of the lyrics?
The lyrics again are just kind of they're not real. I don't know how to describe it, but the lyrics are just okay for me.
Did you know what the song was about?
Well, isn't it well, I don't want to say it on the podcast. But isn't it sexual innuendos?
It's not, I mean, I guess innuendo, but there is a very specific act being described.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, so you didn't pick up on it?
No, I picked up on it, but I'm what do you...
Well, it's very specifically about, the person he is having, innuendo with.
Yeah.
Wants him to choke them.
Right. Choke them. Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
To the point that they get close to death.
Right. Yeah, take my breath away. Yeah. Yeah, I got that. Bring me close to heaven, babe. I was whoo, you're really singing about this. Yeah, so...
Well, it's not just that to me, it's that this is a weird premise for a song. Because it's not just that that's happening, it's that, she drops this on him and he's okay. It's, to me, that's a weird perspective. And I'm, where's the song in that? That's just weird to me.
It's definitely a weird vibe altogether.
Anyways, next.
Okay, next Sacrifice. So I didn't really get this song that much.
What do you mean?
Well, I like the song. Again, I thought it was a catchy beat, but I didn't understand what he's saying. I don't want to sacrifice, but I love my time. What exactly? does that mean? To me, it would be like, wouldn't it be like, and? Like, I, like, I don't want to sacrifice. I love my time.
Yeah, it should be and, I guess.
Yeah, that just threw me. It's one word. It threw me
Yeah.
off. But I did like how he said, like, one of the lyrics is, "The ice inside my veins will never bleed." So that's kind of like, what the song's about. He doesn't want to sacrifice. So
Yeah.
we got it. But I like the song. It didn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, more of the same to me.
Yeah, very similar.
I thought the vocals were particularly good on this track.
Yeah, I like this one. And this is one I hadn't heard before. So
Okay.
yeah.
Next?
The next one, A Tale by Quincy.
Yep.
So this is Quincy Jones.
It's a spoken word with just like a backing track.
Yeah. And the narrator is talking about like seeing his mother being put in a straitjacket and how his childhood affected his relationships. It was definitely interesting, but I was kind of like, how does this fit in?
Yeah. More stuff about the concept. Yeah, that like
yeah.
There's a few songs on here that are about like reflecting on your life, but for the most part they're not about this, and it also doesn't fit with the rest of the like Dawn FM stuff.
Yeah.
Which is kind of about reflection, but is mostly about dying. It's not like a reflective sort of dying.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I thought it was a little weird.
Again, the concept doesn't work for me.
Me either. And, nothing against Quincy Jones, has a nice voice, but just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Like, where'd this come from?
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever. I wasn't really feeling it, but
yeah.
Moving on.
Next,
Out of Time. So this one, I like his vocals right at the start. It's kind of like about he's trying to tell his love to come back to him. The song to me is just okay. It felt a little too like soft rock for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then at the end they do like kind of the radio station thing again where they're like, "Don't you dare touch that dial."
Yeah, they should have just cut that.
Yes, I did not like that. Like I thought that was just super weird to add in at the end of this song. But like you said, it's a concept album. I see what they're trying to do. But to me, it's the voice. It's like that soft, like, on a soft rock station voice kind of thing. And
yeah.
I just don't like that. Maybe it's part of my misophonia, but I just don't. I was like, no, I'm not here for that. Like, take it off of the song, you know?
Because I felt like this was a little bit, like, soul-inspired.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
But, more of the same to me. Synth pop, vocals are solid, well constructed. Doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I like the vocals, but I'm not a huge fan of the song.
Yeah, so next.
Okay, here we go again, featuring Tyler, the Creator. So I'll start off saying, like, I'm not a big fan of Tyler, the Creator.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, just I'm not like I don't dislike him or his music, but I'm also not like a huge fan at all. And I think he's like him as a person. I feel like he's kind of a little cocky, but maybe that's just his persona.
I don't know his persona, and I'm only like vaguely aware of his music, so I have no opinions on him one way or the other.
Yeah. Like when it comes on, like if I'm listening to Spotify or something like that, and Tyler the Creator comes on, I usually skip it. So that's where I'm at with Tyler. Sorry, Tyler. But I felt like it was an intro, like the whole song. Until like 2 minutes in, then Tyler comes in. And the only lyric that I liked, they made a reference to the Scream movie franchise.
Yes.
Where he says, "Make her scream like Nev Campbell." And I'm like, Nev Campbell? That's a name I haven't heard in forever. And so I appreciated that. I like when, you have these references to like pop culture that are like old. Like, I think it's kind of funny. So that's really the only lyric that I liked. And then again with the radio promo.
Yeah.
Just not a favorite. Yeah, I don't like that. What did you think?
So I didn't like the Tyler the Creator verse. I'm not really qualified to evaluate rap, but like it didn't do anything for me. But this is one of the songs I think was decent. For whatever reason, I like the like slower parts of this album,
Yeah.
and I like the chord progression here. So
Yeah, I could see that. I was kind of like, I don't know, the whole thing just felt like an intro. Like it didn't ever like pick up to me. You know what I mean?
Well, I thought it was like deliberately slower, kind of.
Yeah,
go
it
for
definitely
that.
was, but I didn't like that.
Didn't work for me, so.
Oh, good. All right,
Next.
best friends. So I like the beat right up front. I thought it was, a good beat. And this one sounds more like the songs that I like from this album,
Okay.
or the songs that I like from the Weeknd in general. So I like this one. I've heard it before, but basically, like he's singing about, he doesn't want to take a relationship further. So the concept is fine to me, and I like this song. What'd you think?
I more of the same. The only real thing I noted here was that like that synth bass, like that the bass was that felt very 80s to me.
Yes, very 80s. This is an example of like 80s
Yeah.
sound that I like, so it was fine for me.
Yeah. No opinion, like it's not my thing.
Okay, I got you. Well, we'll move on then. Okay. Next, is there someone else? So this is one where he's like trying to like ask his love if they're committed. He says he used to be the one lying, so he feels like he knows. So the concept is fine. I like the song. It's not like, it's kind of an in between for me. Like it's not like super low key. It's not like super peppy. It's kind of in between, which I liked it. I wouldn't say like is my absolute favorite on the album, but I thought it was good.
More of the same. Like I said, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
really repetitive. Like it is what it is. I don't like it. I'm sure there like someone that's not us that's like really about this album.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Okay, well, more of the same. Yeah, I did feel like this whole, like all of the songs sounded so similar. So, I guess they're all cohesive. We can say that, except for some of the narration. But...
Yes, yeah, but I mean, it's like it is nailing that specific vibe it's going for.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess if you like that sort of thing,
yep,
whatever. Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Next is Starry Eyes. So I liked his vocals on this one. And it's more of a sweet song, I think. He's saying like he'll be there to love the person he's speaking to.
Yeah.
And it's short. There's not much to it, I felt like. And then I don't know if I'm using this term right, but there's like kind of like a crescendo at the end. I liked it. It wasn't it wasn't my favorite song of the album, but I thought it was a nice song.
Yeah, so this was a bit slower, and I thought the lyrics were decent.
Yeah.
But, again, more of the same.
This is gonna be your answer for all of them.
Yeah,
Same.
Like I said, and like we've been saying, this is a very like repetitive album. It's got like a very specific sound dialed in with maybe a little bit of like other influences in there, but for the most part, it is one thing. It does that thing extremely well.
Yeah.
I do not like that thing, so.
So there's positives and negatives to that one thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all positive for someone else. I just don't like it.
Not your thing.
There are very few synth pop like songs that I like. For the most part, it's just never been a genre I've been a fan of.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, so glad we chose this album for you.
Yep.
No, but okay. Well, moving on.
Yeah, Every Angel is Terrifying, which it's another one of the concept songs. This one's a poem.
Yeah, so...
And then a weird bit, like that.
Yeah.
That's like an advertisement.
Yeah, I did not like this.
No, not at all.
The song, like, Every Angel is Terrifying. I thought this song was terrifying, okay?
Oh, really?
Well, it's kind of like spooky music at first. But it's also like almost like spa-like music, And then this like weird voice is reading. And then there's like, it's kind of like a movie promo.
Yeah,
and I just think the whole thing is just like very odd. I didn't feel like it went with the concept, I guess.
No.
And I just did not like it.
I guess, like, radio advertisement, but also the poems there. And I thought it was a poorly, like, I don't know. I don't know enough about poetry to make this claim, but it felt, like, poorly read to me.
Yeah.
Like, the speaker was butchering it.
Yeah, I did not care for it in any kind of way whatsoever. So, like I said, it was terrifying because it was terrifyingly bad.
The poem seems neat, but just cut the concept parts out of these albums. You don't need them.
Like the
They're not
whole
good.
like promo part at the end.
Yeah, the advertising thing. Like, just stop.
Nobody wants to hear that. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Even if you're listening to the radio, you don't want to hear that. So why include it on an album? But
well, it's not like even a good, like, it doesn't fit the rest of the concept other than like a radio advertisement, but like,
yes. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
They went for it. Just didn't land for me. So anyway, next, Don't Break My Heart. This isn't a bad song. But it just sounds so similar to all the others. But, you know, the singer in this is apparently drunk. He talks about, you know, having liquor and needing the room to stop. But the song to me is just a little too light, and it kind of repeats the same line like way too much for my liking. So, but again, it's not a bad song. I wasn't like, oh, I hate this song, but I didn't love it either.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything to say about this that I haven't already.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move on that one. That one just didn't have much to say about. So, the next one, I Heard You're Married. This one's featuring Lil Wayne.
Yep.
And so I thought this was a decent song. I liked his singing at the beginning, The Weeknd, and it sounds like the song itself was like, it was about like very specific drama.
Yeah.
And I kept like waiting for Lil Wayne to pop in, you know? So it felt like it took forever for him to come in.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
he doesn't
like,
come
where's
in
Lil
till
Wayne?
the end. It takes him a bit.
Yeah, which I thought was a little weird. But then, I mean, his part was better, and only because I am a big fan of Lil Wayne.
Okay.
This wasn't his usual like feature, but the reason I like Lil Wayne, well, one of the reasons is because like I like his lyrics. I think they're very creative. I love his references. And this one, you know, he didn't disappoint because he had like a Larry Bird reference in there. And that's another one. Like, when's the last time you heard the name Larry Bird?
I don't know. I feel like I heard it like not too long ago. It's kind of like around as like a cultural figure.
I don't ever hear Larry Bird.
Oh,
so I was
okay.
like, this is funny. Yeah.
I mean, I know who that is, and I didn't know who, like, the Scream lady was. So
Okay. Yeah, well, that's good. I
had to look that up.
Yeah, I always appreciate, like, an old basketball reference. So
Okay.
I like that part. But also the whole song was, like, kind of weird and random. Like, I just didn't feel like it really, I don't know. It just didn't resonate with me. What about you?
Okay. I mean, it's more relationship problems. Like, I don't think it's random in that sense.
I guess so, yeah.
It's more the same. The one thing I will say is you're probably gonna get mad about this, but I didn't like the Lil Wayne verse. I thought it felt phoned in. Maybe I'm not like, I don't know Lil Wayne well enough to say, but
No, but like I said, it's not like his usual features. And so I thought it was an odd feature on this song because it was kind of like, you know, usually when Lil Wayne comes in, he's like popping off, you know, like, and this was very like more subdued and like you said, could be considered like phoned in. The thing that I liked about it was his lyrics. It wasn't the delivery or anything like that, you know, so I get what you're saying.
yeah.
I usually love when Lil Wayne's featured. Like, I think it always brings something to the album, but the features on this album were just a little odd to me.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them. They're mostly part of the concept, and they're, like, there's only 2 in the actual songs.
Yeah.
So, unless you count, like, production as features.
Yeah.
Because there were some names I recognized on the production side, but...
Yeah, Calvin Harris, like, I was like, oh, really?
That is, I recognized Swedish House Mafia because they were popular in like the 2010s, and One O Tricks Point Never, who I've heard before but never listened to before. So
Yeah. I mean, definitely some production features too. Yeah. Don't want to leave them out. But, okay.
next, Less Than Zero.
Less Than Zero. This one had a catchy beat, and I like the style of vocals from The Weeknd, but the music still wasn't my fave.
Okay, this is probably my favorite song on the album.
Yeah. Oh, I like the sound of the chorus.
Yeah.
But again, I felt like it was like too like slow and a softer rock kind of feel.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I liked it. It felt a little new wavy to me.
Yeah.
And that's approaching genre spaces I like. So I like that it had a guitar.
Yes.
And the chorus felt like bigger than any of the other choruses on here.
Agree. I like the chorus and I like the guitar. I thought the guitar at the end especially was very nice.
Yeah. And this should have been the outro, but it was not, so next.
Next we have Phantom Regret by Jim. So this is Jim Carrey.
Yes.
This is him doing another Dawn FM DJ bit.
Yes.
And it sounds like a funeral organ, and it's just a little creepy, but it's just like reading a poem. Like there's nothing else.
You get creeped out easily.
I do. I don't know, like the whole funeral sound and like the voice. I was just like, oh, I don't like that. It's creepy, you know?
Yeah.
So I wasn't a fan. I thought it was interesting to have these narrators, and especially like Jim Carrey. Like, how did that come about?
I don't know. He probably like friends with them or something. I don't know. Or maybe he just asked him.
Yeah.
He didn't do a bad job in his like radio voice. The problem is the concept sucks.
Correct. So I don't want to like diss Jim on this one. He did not do a bad job. But like you said, the concept, I just was not feeling the concept of it.
Yeah. I will say, even though I think the concept sucks and I think it should have been cut from the album, this is the one bit of concept I think actually like works on its own terms, because I think the poem here is fine, is decent.
Yeah.
And I like the sound of the weird piano instrument, that weird effect they have on it. I like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Whereas I thought it was creepy. You liked it.
Yeah. So... But yeah, so you want to do closing thoughts?
Sure, yeah. So, the album as a whole, I think, like you said, a lot of the songs, it's much of the same. A lot of the songs have very, very similar sounds. And like I said, if you played just the music, I would not be able to pick out what song it was, besides maybe the couple of singles that I've heard several times before. But I don't regret, like, listening to the album. It was, a concept that I hadn't come across before. So again, like I said in the beginning, I appreciate the artist's, experimentation and, trying new things. But to me, it just didn't land. Yeah. It was not my favorite. A lot of the songs, I was like, I don't hate them, but they're not my favorite. Like, they're not getting put on playlists, but there are a few that I actually enjoy. So I would say, I'm glad I listened to it, but I wasn't feeling the concept of the 103.5 FM, like DJ bits or the narration or like some of the creepy music. Didn't do that. It just didn't do it for me. So overall, I don't know how I would rate this. I would give it like a middle of the road, because I didn't absolutely hate it, but I didn't like it either. Yeah, I mean, I'll just reiterate everything I've said. Concept sucks. Should have been cut. This album would have been way better if it wasn't there. But like I said, it's exactly what it wants to be. It's doing that well. I think it's well constructed. I think the production's good. I think the vocal performances and choruses and synths are solid throughout. I just do not care for this genre. This is not something I like. And it's just like, like I said on a few of these songs, they're decent. I wouldn't seek out these to listen again. Just don't like the genre. Which makes for kind of a weird, like, review, just because, like, this isn't for me. Yeah. Like, I can recognize that. I can recognize that, like, who it is for probably really loves it, but it's not my thing. Weird to talk about, but, Yeah. And I mean, I'll say I have not listened to any of the Weeknd's albums in full. So this was really my first one listening to it, which is kind of funny because I enjoy The Weeknd, and so you would think I would have listened to his albums before now, but I honestly haven't. So this being the first one, I was like, I don't know. I'm hoping his other albums are better. And I'm sure they are. And I definitely agree with you that this wasn't for me. There were a few good songs, but I'm sure there are people out there who really love it.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's everything.
That's it.
So, take us out.
All right. Well, this has been Beach View. Thank you for listening and join us next time. Bye.
Bye.